dahil kahapon lang kami nagbigay ng media advisory. So I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time out to join us here today. Basically, gusto ko lang po frame yung purpose ng ating press conference sa ngayon. Kasama ko po si Attorney Sheila Sison. Kahapon po, no, as you all know, nagpadala po kami ng sulat sa Committee on Justice, as counsels for the Vice President. At doon sa sulat na yun, inilahad natin yung aming fundamental objections, no, dito sa mga proceedings na isinasagawa ng Committee on Justice. Siguro to give you more context, hindi po ako nagbigay, and you know that, hindi po ako nagbigay ng kopya ng sulat sa kahit anong media outfit out of due respect for the Committee on Justice. But since we noticed na I think some copies already circulating online, we'd like also to give you proper context doon sa sulat na yon. And that's why Attorney Sheila here will read the pertinent portions of that letter para po maintindihan, hindi lang ninyo, pati na rin ng ating mga kababayan.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. We thank you for coming today, and I think this is on short notice. We appreciate everyone's work to keep the public well informed on the development of the impeachment complaints against the Vice President. That's right. I confirm that the defense team sent a letter addressed to Representative Luistro, the chairperson of the Committee on Justice. This was dated March 24, 2026. This letter was sent in response to the invitation extended to us by the committee. Just so there is context to the letter that we sent, even as we had observed from the hearing that was conducted earlier, that this letter was also tackled by the committee. We will just read the pertinent portions so that the public is also informed of the reason or the reason stated in this letter on why the respondent and the defense team did not participate in the hearing today. So under these circumstances, and considering the public statements made by the chairperson, it appears that the committee intends to conduct a trial. However, with due respect, the Constitution vests the authority and power to conduct trial solely in the Senate. And this is clear and explicit in Section 3, Paragraph 6, Article 11 of the 1987 Constitution, which, as you know, states that it is the Senate that shall have the sole power to try and decide all cases of impeachment. The Constitution is thus clear. It is only the Senate that conduct trial in all cases of impeachment. And while Section 3, Paragraph 2, Article 11 allows the committee to conduct a hearing for the purpose of submitting its report to the House of Representatives within 16 session days from referral, the same does not give the committee any power or jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial, whether mini or full-blown, much less receive and try any evidence. That impeachment rules must be compliant with the Constitution is made clear in Francisco versus House of Representatives, wherein the Supreme Court declared Section 16 and 17 of Rule 5 of the Rules of Impeachment Proceedings adopted by the then 12th Congress unconstitutional. And in doing so, the Supreme Court aptly reminded it is basic that all rules must not contravene the Constitution, which is the fundamental law. In light of these, while the invitation for the respondent and counsel to participate in the committee's mini-trial is well noted We cannot, however, do so at this point on the ground that the committee and or the House of Representatives, as well as any of its members, lack jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial or exercise any of its incidents. Absent such jurisdiction, any attempt to proceed in the nature of any form of trial or to invoke powers ancillary to it is unconstitutional. Consequently, the respondent puts on record her objection to any requests, motions, or similar efforts aimed at obtaining or fishing for supposed evidence through processes that necessarily presuppose the existence of lawful authority and jurisdiction under the Constitution, which in this case is absent. As timely stated in the appearance of consolidated answer both made at Cotalam, the respondent does not waive any jurisdictional or other objections she has to these proceedings, nor her right to seek the appropriate legal remedies. Nonetheless, she is prepared to meet the charges against her before the proper jurisdiction.
Thank you. We will now just open the floor to questions para hindi tayo maubusan ng oras.
Good afternoon. Hi ma'am, hi sir. I'm Camille Samondebo from TV5. Natapos na po yung hearing ng Committee on Justice and there were several motions po na natakel sa hearing where they want to issue subpoena doon sa mga ilang dokumento, kabilin sa mga financial transactions, IPR, including you, attorney po, kasama doon sa pinasubpoena. Maybe just get your reaction on that. And ano po yung magiging tugon ng defense team since ito nga, may mga hiling na yung committee na mga dokumento na mapresenta o matakel doon sa committee.
Thank you. Unang-una sa lahat, I have to address yung subpoena that was issued against myself. I will wait for the subpoena. Titingnan ko kung ano yung laman ng subpoena, but definitely I'm willing to attend. No, wala akong any intention to evade having to attend before the Committee on Justice. Although I must say, I was monitoring the hearings. In fact, that's why hindi kami nag-start until matapos yung hearings out of due respect na rin to the Committee on Justice. I was a bit surprised because I think the ground stated there was that I was the one in charge of the accomplishment reports, etc., which obviously the facts and documents would show that it was not me. No? But nonetheless, I don't see any point in not appearing. So I will definitely abide by the subpoena, subject to, of course, titingnan natin kung ano yung laman. Pagdating naman doon sa ibang subpoena that will be issued for the documents, I think it is our job as counsels to look first at kung ano yung scope ng subpoena and to see kung naayon ba sa batas yung pag-issue ng subpoena. Attorney Sheila, is there anything you wanted to add pa? Go ahead.
In addition to what Mike had said, I think the portions of the letter that I had read earlier would answer that question. So right now, what is clear is that we have questions on the jurisdiction of the committee to conduct any form of trial. And if you had noticed also from the letter, we had stated that it's not only the conduct of the trial, but also the exercise of any and all ancillary incidents to it, which includes, of course, the issuance of any compulsory process. I cannot tell you yet how the defense would meet the orders given today at the committee hearings or how we would specifically respond to those. But we are making clear that we are questioning the jurisdiction of the committee to conduct this form of trial. Whether, it is something that they may have, or some members of the committee may have referred to as a mini trial or as a form of hearing. We have a fundamental question on the jurisdiction, and that fact has been made clear in the letter that we had sent to the chairperson of the committee.
Number from my end. Clarification po ng chairperson and some members of the committee na ito daw pong ginagawa nila is like not like a mini trial but like preliminary investigation. Ikukumpara doon sa usual na legal process na ginagawa. At ang sabi po, para po kay Representative De Lima, parang disrespectful daw po na hindi humarap si Vice President Sara Duterte para personally ipaalam o i-lay down yung kanyang mga rason kung bakit hindi siya nadal or haharap na dito sa pagdinig. Yun po. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So you have two questions, right? Number one, it does act to the statement that what the committee is conducting is not a trial, but is allegedly a preliminary investigation. Number two, you also want us to react to the statement of Representative De Lima to the effect that the nuance of the response at the committee hearing today is allegedly a disrespect. Let me respond to the second one before I go to the first one. We regret that that's how the good representative feel, but we also had very clearly in our letter and with good intentions, because it is our duty as lawyer to put the defense or best defense available for our client. And at this point, we really feel or we believe that the committee really has no jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial. There was no disrespect intended because in fact, we had responded to the invitation that was extended to us, signed by the chairperson of the committee, and we had submitted this even before the committee hearing today. So we don't know, we don't understand how that could be a form of disrespect. Nonetheless, let me address your question on the statement that what is being done at the committee level is a preliminary investigation, and they may be referring to the comparison of the committee level proceeding as akin to a preliminary investigation. However, if you have taken note of the past statements by members of the committee, and this is not even something that we said or stated, the term mini trial did not come from the defense. The term mini trial came from members of the committee. And in fact, you only have to look probably in the internet or search them yourselves to know that there have been statements to this effect that what the committee will do is sort of a mini trial. And so our response to that is, given that the Constitution only vests the power and authority to conduct trial in the Senate, then the House of Representatives or any of its committees cannot do that. And I think this is very clear also in the Duterte ruling, both in the 2025 and 2026 decisions of the Supreme Court, that constitutional parameters with respect to the conduct of the entire impeachment proceedings should always be complied with, especially given that it's not only a purely political proceeding, it is also a legal proceeding, and therefore must comply with the fundamental law. And what is our fundamental law? Our fundamental law is the Constitution. You don't even have to write it in any contracts or agreements or any rules. It's written in every rules, in every contract. That's how fundamental the objection of the respondent is to the committee proceedings.
Good afternoon, Attorney Joseph Veteran po from Manila Police. In asserting the unconstitutionality of the House jurisdiction over the impeachment complaint, what are we trying to achieve here po ba? Are we trying to stop the House hearing? Or have we made any legal move na ipahid po to? Or it's just a mere position ng defense team?
Well, for now, that's really the position of the defense team na unconstitutional yung nangyaring proceedings, di ba? Ngayon, ang tinitingnan natin, ang sinasabi talaga natin dito to simplify things. Sa Constitution, very clear naman yung nakasulat. No? Number one, ang initiation ng impeachment proceedings that belongs to the House. That is an exclusive power of the House. We're not contesting that. No? But, pagdating sa trial, that power exclusively belongs to the Senate. Napaka-clear niyan. Kaya ang sinasabi lang namin dito is hindi naman pwede dito sa pag-initiate pa lang ng proceedings nagkakaroon na ng tinatawag na namin na mini trial. At again, kaklaruhin ko lang yung emphasize ko lang yung nasabi na ni Attorney Sheila. Hindi po sa amin ang galing yung term na mini trial. Yan po ay galing sa mga statements, no, ng either Committee on Justice or even other personalities. So hindi po sa amin ang galing yan. That's why we're contesting it. Ngayon, ano ba ang trabaho para sa amin ng Committee on Justice? At least sa aming pananaw. And again, with all due respect, no, to the members of the committee and the committee itself. Ang trabaho po ay to determine, sabi nga nila, kung ito ay iakyat na sa plenaryo at iakyat na eventually sa Senado, hindi ba? So ang parati namin sinasabi, kahit sa previous interviews ko, ang gagawin lang naman is to evaluate the complaints and the evidence at hand. No? Kung ano yung mga naka-attach na ebidensya doon sa complaint. So yung pagpapatawag ng mga witnesses and all those things and asking for documents, that goes well and beyond, di ba? Yung evaluation lang kung ito ay dapat mapunta na sa plenaryo at nang sa ganun ay maiakat na sa Senado. So sa ngayon, are we going to question this? Kasi I think that was your question talaga. Of course, that possibility is always there, hindi ba? But hindi po na kami magsasabi ng anything categorical. Ito ay dapat pag-usapan hindi lang namin, pero pati na ng aming kliyente. At titignan natin kung anong mangyayari. That's why we have been monitoring these proceedings from day one. And then we'll let you know kung meron na kaming desisyon ukol doon.
Sir, follow up na. Since you are acknowledging that the House of Representatives can initiate the impeachment trial, the impeachment proceedings or whatever, bakit dun sa process na yun, we're not attending doon sa mga invitations ng House of Representatives? And follow-up is, are we surely attending the Senate hearing once it prospers, the case prospers?
Number one, dun sa tanong niyo po, it's not just we're acknowledging, no, that's clearly stated naman in the Constitution na sila talaga ang may exclusive power to initiate impeachment proceedings. Why are we not attending? I think it was clearly stated in our letter. It's because we are objecting. There's a fundamental objection to the proceedings itself because for us this goes well and beyond what is contemplated within initiation of impeachment proceedings. As to the Senate, wala pa tayo doon, no? Pero pag dumating man doon, talaga namang kami naman ready na sagutin. Parati naman natin sinasabi, ready nating sagutin ang mga alegasyon laban sa Vice Presidente sa tamang forum. And at sa atin, pagdating sa pagkakaroon ng trial, whether mini trial or full-blown trial, that is not in the House, but that's actually in the Senate. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Kanina po ay naglabas ng statement si Vice President Sara Duterte at sinabi na niya na ang gagawin na pagdinig o ang sinagawang pagdinig kanina ay isang fishing expedition. Pwede po ba natin ipaliwanag ito bakit ito nasabi ng PCP?
Well, again, I have to premise my answer with I'm no longer the spokesperson of the Vice President. So napakahirap naman na maglagay ng salita. No? mag-interpret ng kanyang mga sinasabi. But at least based on our conversations, nakikita naman natin, yun naman talagang posisyon natin when you evaluate these impeachment complaints. The evaluation must solely remain with the complaints and the pieces of evidence attached. Di ba? Ngayon, if you will go beyond the evidence attached and start asking for documents left and right, when our first argument nga, kung matatandaan nyo, is wala man lang ultimate facts yung complaints. No? And then yung mga naka-attach na ebidensya, wala rin naman doon na nagsasabing o nagpapatunay na may krimen na kaagad na nangyari. And so if you go beyond that, that is what we're saying na fishing expedition. No? Malamang yun na rin ang pinaparating ng ating Vice Presidente. Pangalawa, katulad ng mga issue na nilabas sa kanyang salin. Doon sa desisyon ng Supreme Court sa Duterte versus House of Representatives, malinaw na nakasaad doon na ang impeachable offense ay yung mga offense na allegedly na-commit ng impeachable official within his or her term. At malinaw naman doon sa pinakita na karamihan doon sa hinihing documents ay not within his or her, within the term of the Vice President in this case. No? So, marahil doon ang gagaling ng ating Vice Presidente.
Good afternoon po, Ed Mendoza from the Manila Times. I'd just like to note lang po yung mga subpoenas regarding doon sa subpoenas regarding Versailles. Congressman Rodriguez said na it's a form of fishing expedition. That's why he objected to the motion raised by the panel. Pero sa tingin niyo po ba, pwede pa muna natin ma-control dito o prevent itong pagkakas ng mga salin? Kasi yun nga, as Lucas Rodriguez nga, is a legal expert saying na it's a fishing expedition. And baka makupunta ito sa nangyari sa Corona impeachment trial na naging fishing expedition. So, what's your take po doon sa mga subpoena sa SALN and pati na rin yung mga bank records na rin kay Atty. Manscarpio?
I think I've made this clear, and I also, again, say that if the objection of the respondent goes into the matter of jurisdiction, meaning does the committee have any power or authority to conduct a mini trial or whatever it is that they will call it, including the examination and cross-examination of witnesses, issuance of compulsory processes for the introduction, reception, and examination of evidence. Our position has been made clear in the letter. That authority and all the incidents of that authority should only be exercised by the Senate. Because why? Again, we go back under Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 6. It's only the Senate that can conduct trial, that can examine witnesses, that can cross-examine witnesses, that can issue subpoena for the production of evidence. In fact, if someone here earlier asked, this is akin to a preliminary investigation, you know, under the current rules of preliminary investigation and inquest proceedings, even the matter of deciding or resolving the complaint is only limited to the complaint and the counter affidavits of the respondent and other affidavits and the evidence at hand. Nothing beyond evidence at hand. And let me clarify this, because it might be that the idea that just because a respondent did not appear and sent a letter through the lawyers stating the reasons for non-appearance, which raises issues on jurisdiction, doesn't mean that she or us or we are just raising technical issues. Because I think every lawyer knows that the matter of jurisdiction is always substantive. Cannot even be waived, cannot even be, a subject of any agreement. Once a body, once a tribunal acts beyond the powers vested in it by the Constitution, that cannot be allowed.
Last question na lang po from my end.
Afternoon po, Bella Cayafa from the Philippines Bar. Sir, just to be categorical about it, so may plan kayo to question unconstitutional yung proceeding sa House. So kailan kayo mag-decide na mag-file na ng petition sa Supreme Court? And second po, ano po yung magiging action natin next? Meron parang 3 hearings pa ang House Committee on Justice. So ganito na rin po kayong scenario natin na walang a-attend ng mga lawyers except sabi nyo a-attend kayo dahil may subpoena kayo. Walang a-attend na lawyers and even si Vice President Sara Duterte.
Number one, hindi ko po sinabing may plano. Ang sinasabi ko lang po is, of course, there's always a possibility. Alam nyo, maraming nagfe-frame the past few weeks. Sinasabi, aakyat yung mga yan sa Supreme Court. As if it's a wrong thing, no? Our job as lawyers is to protect the client and the rights of the client, no, against harassment and all of these kinds of things. And sa ngayon, ang sinasabi namin is that is always a possibility. Especially since, ulitin ko lang yung sinabi ni Attorney Sheila, our objection to the proceedings is fundamental. No? Hindi to mere technicality. We are saying na ang sinasagawa ngayon ng committee, at least sa aming pananaw at sa aming posisyon, is labas na sa kapangyarihan nila dahil yung trial, mini-trial, full-blown trial is really vested upon the Senate. Ngayon, pagdating sa susunod na hearings, hindi muna kami magkokomento, ma'am, tungkol dyan. Dahil syempre, we are monitoring the developments as they come. And as lawyers, although, of course, we are ready to anticipate anything and everything that comes, we are also not inclined to telegraph what we plan to do. Thank you.
Good afternoon po, Eliza Incoming from IBC News. If ever the Senate conduct the hearing, can we expect your appearance as well the appearance of Ms. Sara?
Again, I think our letter is clear. We cannot participate in a proceeding that we think is unconstitutional. We cannot have the Vice President appear before a body exercising a power or authority that is vested by the Constitution in another tribunal. If you notice from the letter that we sent on March 24, 22, the penultimate paragraph of that is pretty clear that considering that the requests, motions, or similar efforts aimed at obtaining evidence through processes that necessarily presuppose lawful authority, then, which in this case we believe is absent, then we cannot participate in the proceedings. This is not even something new. This is something that every lawyer questioning the jurisdiction of the court on behalf of his or her client.
Parang iteration ko naman ng question. So since you are not recognizing the jurisdiction of the authority, hindi nyo po to comply ang any subpoena na hindi expected si Vice President and you na mag-appear sa House hearings.
Let me clarify that. Baka ma-misconstrue eh. What we are not recognizing is the authority or power to conduct mini trial. Now, with respect to the power of the House of Representatives to initiate impeachment proceedings, that's stated in the Constitution. We recognize that. Again, what we do not recognize is the authority to conduct any form of trial. We can't tell you yet what will happen in the next weeks until the committee has concluded its proceedings because, as you know, the committee has just finished the hearing this afternoon, and we have yet also to receive any invitation or notice for the next hearing. But what I can tell you is that every step that we will take from here on is deliberate. And those steps would be primarily to protect the interests of our client.
Attorney Paul, so to reiterate and to echo also the question from Congresswoman Molina earlier, so your failure to attend the Vice President and also your team, does it mean you are waiving your right to attend any proceedings? So we do not expect anyone from your team to attend proceedings.
No, I think that's also clear from the letter. In fact, it's explicit in the letter. Let me read again. As timely stated in the appearance and consolidated answer, both made ad cautelam, the respondent does not waive any jurisdictional or other objections she has to these proceedings, nor her right to seek appropriate legal remedies. I think that's quite clear. Could you clarify? What is it that you're asking? That is the respondent waiving her right to defend that? Of course not. Right to the proceedings. No, definitely not. I think, again, the letter is clear, and our position from the start, starting from the appearance ad cautelam and the consolidated verified answer ad cautelam, up to this point when we sent the letter is clear. The Vice President's not waiving any of her rights. Now, if you're asking me, is she waiving her right to present evidence? Definitely, or participation in the proceedings, she will participate before the proper forum, before the body that has jurisdiction to try the case against her. Yes, because again, we just have to read the Constitution. The Constitution says, Section 3, Paragraph 6, Article 11, that it is the Senate that shall have the sole power to try and decide on cases of impeachment.
Well, to us, really, we're questioning the proceedings themselves. No? So I don't want to try to describe it sound ako sa isang description. No? But really, to us, all these things go beyond the powers of initiating an impeachment complaint. And that is why we have already stated on the record our fundamental objection to the proceedings that are being conducted at the moment. Well, for us, ma'am, again, our position is that yung mini trial na salita, hindi sa amin ang galing. Yan ay galing sa ibang tao. Again, I'd like to reiterate our position. Kung ang evaluation lang na dapat gawin dito ay kung ito ay dadalhin, i-recommend no, na dadalhin sa plenaryo, kakaroon ng articles of impeachment that will be transmitted to the Senate, dapat ang gagawin dito, ang evaluation na gagawin dito ay limited lamang doon sa mga complaints at doon sa mga naka-attach sa complaints. Kasi doon mo malalaman kung may basihan ba talaga, kung meron ba talagang impeachable offense laban sa ating Vice Presidente.
Third po Dominguez po from 25. Since you said a while ago po that the hearing is unconstitutional, are we consider po anything that remedies like pagtulog sa Korte Suprema?
As I've answered earlier, that is always a possibility. We are considering all remedies.
Joy po ng Mobile Philippines. Question ko lang po, if magsasampo po ba kayo ng case ng abuse of authority sa ating mga opisyal ng Kamara? Kasi kanina nga po, diba, as actually Season mentioned, it's only the Senate that can conduct the trial. Kasi lalo lamang mag-issue ng subpoena to or on the production of evidence. And kanina, ang Representative Jokno has clearly stated na according sa ating kanilang constitution na naglagay din po siya ng articles and sections that the House of Representatives has the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment, while the Senate naman po has the sole power to try and decide on the power of impeachment. So, kailangan na po yung kanina, pero nagkakaroon po dito ng confusion, Janice, no? Not just sa media, but as well as sa ating mga mamayan na nakikinig ng mga
Well, I agree with Representative Diokno na yun nga naman talagang nakasulat sa Constitution, no? That the power to initiate belongs to the House and the power to try impeachment cases belong to the Senate, hindi ba? And yun nga ang nagiging debate dito dahil sa aming pananaw, lumalampas na po sa initiation ang nangyari at kung magkakaroon man ng any trial type proceeding, that should be had before the Senate impeachment, sitting as an impeachment court, at hindi po sa Committee on Justice.
So, magsasapang ba tayo ng abuse of authority sa ating opisyal ng Kamara?
At this point, we are considering all remedies, pero ayoko pong sabihan na isasampahan ng kaso or what not. We're not in the business of trying to, threaten people with cases. Sa amin lang po, ang trabaho lang po ng mga abogado ng Vice Presidente is to protect her rights and interests. So, titingnan lang po natin kung anong mga remedy base doon sa aming fundamental objection on the constitutionality of the proceedings that are being conducted.
Hello po, good afternoon. Herlene Delgado po from ABS-CBN. Hello po. I just want to get, since you've already reiterated naman po the position of the defense team, just want to get your reaction for fairness and balance. As sinabi ni Representative Luisa earlier, she quoted former Justice Piham, and she said that failure to participate in the hearings before the Commission of Justice rather is tantamount to a culpable violation of the Constitution. Your response?
Well, first and foremost, there is no law requiring the respondent to attend the hearings or the proceedings before the Committee on Justice. I think that is clear. Hindi naman dapat natin pagdebatihan yan. In fact, the Constitution is clear also, diba, na if you read the Constitution, wala namang nakasaad doon na talagang requiring the Vice President to attend. It's not the first time. Sa ibang impeachment proceedings, hindi din naman nag-attend yung high official, no, na ini-impeach. So I don't know where that is coming from. But of course, we would like to state for the record also, no, that we respect the opinions of lawmakers, of our congressmen, whether it's against us or for us. No? And diba, sui generis, it's legal and political. So no doubt it's politically charged and everyone will have their opinions and we have to respect everyone's opinion. But as far as we're concerned, the position is there's no rule requiring the Vice President to be present in this proceeding.
Sir Chen from Billionaire News Channel. Can you give us an outlook na lang po? Ano yung pwede namin maasahan? Can you give us an outlook na lang po? Ano yung pwede namin maasahan sa defense team moving forward given na yun nga, visual subpoena? They also plan on having meetings outside of the impeachment, outside of the hearings and conduct. So ano-anong mga pwede namin take note at abangan from the defense team?
Naman po that every step of the way the defense team will ensure that we are doing our job to protect the rights and interests of our client, which is the Vice President.
One question from the attorney Michael Permanente. Your message na lang po sa public, lahat po ay nakatuon ka na attention po dito sa impeachment proceedings na kay Vice President Sara Duterte. And I remember attorney Sheila, after February 2025, you quoted Senator Miriam Santiago that impeachment is a dreadful process. So ano yung mensahe po sa publiko ngayon?
Ako na muna siguro, no? Sa akin, siguro nagpapasalamat kayo sa mga kababayan natin na patuloy na sumusuporta sa Presidente. Nasabi ko nga kanina, this is highly divisive and politically charged matter, no? So, lang na may pagkakaiba ng mga opinion, may mga debate. For the defense team, we are here without any intention to debate with anyone. No, we are here to just lay down our position, but at the same time, we would like to state again that we respect the opinions of even those whose positions are adverse to ours. No? Siguro ang gusto ko lang linawin is parati kasing nasasabi na hindi sumasagot ang ating Vice Presidente. Hindi po totoo yun. In fact, as early as last year, tuon pa lang sa first round of impeachment, nasabi na ng ating Vice Presidente na handa siyang sumagot sa harap ng tamang forum. No? Lahat ng itong mga aligasyon na binabato sa kanya. That is also included in the letter that we submitted yesterday. At siguro ang pinaka-importante, let's not blur our legal system. Diba? Ayon sa legal system natin, the burden of proof is actually on the accusers. Doon sa mga nag-a-allege na may ginawa siyang impeachable offense, the burden of proof lies with them. No? Dapat pakita muna nila na matibay ang kanilang mga ebidensya. And again, the evaluation should be limited to the complaints that they submitted, their allegations in those complaints, and the pieces of evidence attached to those complaints. No? So again, hindi sumasagot ang Vice Presidente. Handa po sumagot ang Vice Presidente at handa po ang defense team na ipagtanggol ang Vice Presidente sa harap ng tamang forum para dito. Thank you.
Perhaps my message is, it's the same thing. We appreciate the role that the media has in terms of providing our public with good information. By good information, I mean something that is not only plucked from the mouth of a person, but something that invites some meaningful discussion about the issues, about the processes, about what we could expect moving forward as a nation. But my main message would probably be something that I would borrow from the case of Francisco Gutierrez, because I think it encapsulates everything that we need to know in respect of the protection and respect for an individual's rights. In that case, the Supreme Court said that the respondent, or just because former Chief Justice Davide is the Chief Justice, does not imply that he gets to have less in law than anyone else. And the reason is very simple. It's because the Constitution and the law are mindful of every individual's rights, regardless of his or her station in life.
If you know
Ma'am, as you know me, I really want to give due respect to our lawmakers. So whatever happened, the proceedings earlier, I think that is within their wisdom. No, I don't really want to criticize anything or anyone for those proceedings earlier. Ang sa amin lang, that is within the wisdom of the Committee on Justice. Pero sa amin, that doesn't also preclude us from dealing of remedies kung sa tingin namin meron ng mga paglabag sa ligang batas sa mga pangyayari. And that is in line again with our duty to protect our client, who is the Vice President.
So yung mga sabi na review the documents, is this something that you expected to happen? Like you were expecting mga nangyayari?
Well, hindi naman sikreto yan dahil actually, di ba, pati yung appearance ko ay na-question na rin. And again, I have to say, I respect the lawmakers who brought that up. I think it's within their prerogative to raise whatever concerns they have in relation to my appearance. Pero nasabi ko na rin, no, na the past few weeks, sabi naman talaga nila that there will be subpoenas issued. No? Ngayon, yung pagdating naman sa akin, humarap naman ako sa Committee on Good Government. Abogado na rin ako ng Vice Presidente ng mga panahon na yon. At hindi naman ako nag-invoke ng attorney-client because all I can really testify to is kung ano yung totoo na participation ko sa kung ano mang sa dung stint ko nung ako'y nasa DepEd. So I never really saw any conflict with that. But again, if there are subpoenas, these are things that the defense team will have to discuss. We'll have to look at the subpoenas. And ako naman sa sarili ko, I have no problems complying with it. But I have to state that the fundamental objection here is not just the issuance of subpoenas. No? The fundamental objection rather that we are raising here is on the proceedings themselves, and even, nasabi nga ni Atty. Sheila, on the ancillary process that come out of those proceedings.
So you'll just go there as a resource person, pag dinisiplina ka, pero you will still be one of the defense, part of the defense team.
But I will go there as a resource person, witness whatever they want to qualify or characterize it as such, and I will answer questions as the best way I know how based on my personal knowledge. I will not comment on that, pero kung ang tatanungin naman sa akin ay kung yung anong natanong na rin sa akin sa good government, kasi that was very exhaustive. In fact, not only myself, even Attorney Monsayak was there also. We attended every hearing. We answered all the questions directed to us, and not once did I invoke the attorney-client privilege. Because ang masasagot ko lang naman kung ano yung nasa personal knowledge ko po. Hindi naman ako pwede mag-fabricate beyond that.
Attorney, pakabul ko lang, yung reaction niyo po ng pagkustodiya ng camera kay Ramil Madriaga?
Sa akin, that is something that is between actually the court, the Committee on Justice and the court that has jurisdiction over the case of Ramil Madriaga. Again, that goes into yung mga processes na kasi na to, kakibat siya nung mismong proseso na kina-question namin. But as to the safety of Mr. Madriaga, hindi kami yung may hawak ng kaso kasi na perjury laban kay Mr. Madriaga, no? Pero as to the safety, gusto naman namin mag-testify siya eh. 'Di ba? Kasi paano natin pabubulaanan yung mga sinasabi niya kung hindi natin siya papatestify, hindi ba? Doon lang yung forum. But again, at the proper forum. So, kung siya man ay magte-testify, kung mapunta man tayo sa Senate at assuming that there are no constitutional infirmities, at napunta tayo doon sa Senate for the hearing, maybe that's the proper time for us to test his credibility. Diba?
Attorney, sorry, for clarification lang. Kasi you said earlier that the Vice President is not waiving her right to present evidence at in the House proceedings po ba? And even you said po na you are willing to attend the House impeachment proceedings. Pero sabi, you are asserting na unconstitutional yung House proceedings. So,
Definitely not. I think if you listened earlier, I've stated clearly that since the objection challenge to the proceeding goes into jurisdiction, then what the defense is basically saying is that we are prepared prepared, or the respondent is prepared to meet the accusations against her, but before the proper forum, before the body that is vested by the authority or power to conduct trial under the Constitution. And if you take a look at the Constitution, the only body that can conduct trial in impeachment cases is the Senate. So, if you're asking, is there any contradiction between us submitting this letter or Attorney Poa attending Attorney Poa's decision to attend the hearing stated, or the schedule of the hearing stated in the whatever subpoena that he will receive in the forthcoming days? Is there any contradiction? I don't think so. Because it's clear, how can you participate in a proceeding where you are precisely questioning the authority of the body conducting the proceeding? There's no contradiction. If the Vice President will be asked to present her evidence or to examine or cross-examine the witnesses that the complainants will produce, then that has to come at a time when the matter is already before the impeachment court. And at this point, what the Vice President is saying is that, and the defense team are saying, is that she does not waive the right to any challenge, objections, or any of her constitutional rights that even the Supreme Court had said in the recent resolution in the Duterte ruling is effective all throughout the entire impeachment process. The Bill of Rights applies to the entire impeachment process. It's clear. It's not something that, I'm just taking off the top of my head. It's something that is in the decision. Correct. Correct. The Vice President is not waiving anything at this point. No, nothing.
Attorney, of course, with the subpoena right now na issue sa inyo ng House Justice Committee, hindi pa kayo worried baka i-ambush kayo ng mga committee members regarding sa mga tanong nila, or baka may mga incriminating questions na ilap sa iyo na baka magamit nila to prove their point against the Vice President?
I don't want to speculate kung ano yung itatanong nila sa akin. Again, it would be inappropriate and unfair naman sa ating mga lawmakers and members of the committee to speculate na ganun ang gagawin nila. Ang sa akin naman, kung ang itatanong nila ay factual, sasagutin lang naman tayo ng factual.
Sir, ask ko lang po kung nasaan ngayon si Vice President Sara, and kung nag-monitor po ba siya ng House proceedings, and kung i-brief niyo siya kung saan mga nangyari at kung ano yung magiging next move niya after this.
The Vice President is of course in the Philippines. I'm not at liberty to disclose kung nasaan siya, as you know, for security reasons, but she always has daily engagements naman. No? Pagdating naman sa briefing, there's always a regular briefing between the Vice President and her defense counsels. And definitely, lahat naman ng next steps ay pag-uusapan namin. But again, as I've always mentioned, matagal nang nabuo ang defense team. So a lot of these things don't come as a surprise to us anymore. On a regular basis. On a regular.
Next question. Attorney, last na lang. How ready are you if ever na humarap na kayo sa proper forum, hindi na po sa House Committee proceedings? How ready is the defense team?
We're ready. In fact, kung may mga statements nga sinasabi, overwhelming yung evidence. So kung ganon, expect that, iakyat na nila sa Senate so we can have a proper trial at para mapakita na natin at talagang walang basehan ang mga impeachment, itong impeachment complaints laban sa kanya. No, we're not saying anything to that effect. As I said kanina, lahat ng legal remedies ay na-explore at ready kami. Actually, alam naman namin lahat ng legal remedies na available. So titingnan lang natin, depending on the developments, kung ano yung pinakamagandang gawin para maprotektahan talaga natin ng rights, no, ng ating Vice Presidente. Pero kung ito'y aakyat sa Senate, ay handang-handa po kami. We've been ready since last year. Actually, hindi pa lahat. But again, I have to clear that up. No? Napag-usapan din namin ni Attorney Sheila to, maybe we can also add on to what I'm about to say. But I have to give that some context. No? Kasi parating lumalabas, ang dami-daming abogado ng Vice Presidente, di ba? 16 lawyers, etc., etc. Alam nyo, ito sa defense team, ito sa collaboration between Fortuna Salazar, which is a law firm, no? And myself and Attorney Reynold Monsaya, Mark Vinluan, Attorney Bodota, and also Attorney Batong Bakal. So, yun talaga yun. Kaya ang dami, because it's a law firm, and that's not uncommon. Even in the small law firm that I have, when we have cases, no, for clients, hindi naman isang tao naka-assign dun sa case na yun. Especially at a case as complex as this, natural lang na sa isang team, marami talagang naka-assign. So, para lang klaro tayo na hindi yung parang kasing 16 lawyers, parang ang dami-daming abogado. But it's really Fortuna Pasans, which I have to say is taking the lead, no, here, and they're collaborating with us. So, yan po ang nangyari dito.
Before we conclude,
Ilan, baka Attorney Sheila would like to add on to that.
Just a short note. So, tama yung sinabi ni Mike, no? Yung balita na may 16 na abogado, si Vice Presidente. Ang sa totoo lang, the Vice President has our firm as one of her counsel and the 5 collaborating counsel. No? Si Attorney Poa, Attorney Binuan, Attorney Monsayak, Attorney Ralph, and if we will count us, no, including our collaborating counsel, ilan lang tayo? 6. Now, the fact that there were the other members of the defense team also signed the pleadings does not mean that, you know, separate engagement. In fact, I think maski yung ating mga kasamahan maaari sa media or publiko na mga abogado rin maintindihan nila na kapag ang isang tao ay in-engage niya, no, yung isang firm, law firm, ibig sabihin yung buong law firm na yon ay kanyang abogado. It doesn't matter, hindi yon, you know, bilangan ng ilan ba ang abogado dyan sa opisina na yan. Ibig sabihin, kung sabihin natin, ang isang opisina ay may 100 mahigit na abogado, at let's just assume that each one of those lawyers will sign the pleadings, hindi naman siguro tama na sabihin na, oh, dami-dami abogado na, ngayon, sa yung size ng aming team, kailangan din sapagkat, katulad ng sinabi ni Mike, yung ganitong kaso ay kailangang paghandaan ng maigi. At kailangang magtulungan yung mga miyembro ng defense team.
before we conclude, we invite the defense team to share any closing message.
Siguro briefly lang. Again, gusto lang namin magpasalamat sa ating mga kaibigan sa media for your patience. Lalong-lalo na pag minsan hindi kami nakakasagot kaagad. Pasensya na po kayo, no, kung may ganung mga pagkakataon. At hopefully po, hindi kayo magsawa na pumunta kung meron kaming ganitong mga paanyaya dahil kailangan din naming maklaro hindi lang sa legal community but sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan kung ano nangyari sa mga proseso na to. So maraming salamat po sa inyo.
This concludes our press conference. We thank our colleague from the media for your questions. On behalf of the impeachment defense